Welcome to the show. It's the Jab Show, and I'm your host, Joe Abbas Bangoa. My team knows that these are the most fun moments of my life when I have the privilege to be here to just share with you those principles that have made the most fundamental difference in my life. It's the Jab Show. It's your life by design.
More and more people are using Rokel SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Rokel SIM Copper.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Rokel SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Rokel SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Wondering how to activate your AfriMoney account? It's easy. Dial *161*8*3#. Enter your default PIN or old PIN and press send. Enter your new PIN and press send. Enter your new PIN again. You'll receive a message confirming your PIN change. AfriMoney. Fast, easy, safe.
Top of the show, I'd like to be able to say that the show is coming to you by courtesy of AfriCell, AfriMoney, RC Bank, and the AYV Media Empire. Today on the show, I'd like to be able to talk about something that cuts to the core of the fundamental changes that have taken place in my life. I just discovered, as I continue to ask myself a question on what is it that makes the difference between success and failure in life? Why would two people born in the same family, grow up in the same environments, same everything and grow up, but they would end up so massively different in their lives? And you ask people, between success and failure, and ask people why one would fail, one would succeed in life. The excuse people always give is down to resources. Let me start off the show by asking you a question. Have you ever failed to achieve any goal in your life? When you meet people in life who are not doing as much as they're supposed to be doing, as much as people expect them to be doing at that age of their life, at that level of your life, and you ask them, why? Why are you not achieving as much as you're supposed to have been achieving, or as expected? Either by your age, either compared to those that you grew up together. There's several benchmarks. Why? What happened to you? It's a big question. And each time that question is asked, a lot of the time, and across the board, whoever you ask, they would point at things that they did not have that led to them not achieving as much as they've been expected to. Every now and again, as I go around, I meet somebody with whom we were in school together, and or we grew up together. And there are moments where you would look at them in all humility and with all respect to them and wherever they are in life. You would look at them and see where you are at compared with where they are at, and obviously questions will be asked as to what happened. What led to the difference in how much growth had taken place in one life and not the other? And as I speak with friends and people that we grew up with, and invariably the answer they give you all the time is just typical of an answer you would get anywhere in the country, anywhere you go. If you're talking to people as to why they've not been able to achieve as much as had been expected at that point in time, at the level of life that they are, what they would tell you, they would always point down to a resource that they did not have. And those resources would be invariably either they did not have the money, whether it was a university education that there's nobody to pay for them to go through, so they did not have the money, they didn't have the family support system. You know, I lost my dad, I lost my mom, and I did not have the family support, nobody else to be able to help me. I did not have the time to be able to do this. And I did not have the family connection. And one after the other, people would always go back to point at things that they did not have, which led to them not being able to achieve as much as would have been expected at that point in time. They push it down to lack of resources. And actually, if I would take a microphone to you today, wherever you are now, you're watching this, and I'd ask you to list 5 things that you had failed to achieve in life, and ask you why, you would straight away run off a list of resources that you did not have, which had led to you not achieving as much as had been expected, or had failed to achieve the things that you had set out for yourself. It's always down to resources. People will put it down to resources, to a lack of resources. Now, one of the beauty I've learned in this my journey in my short life here on earth is that I came to learn that when we talk about resources, now you have to just realize that in the success journey, in the journey of life, when you talk about resources that are required for success, there are 2 types of resources. There are internal resources and external resources. Resources that are innate to us. They are native to ourselves, and who we are as humans, as human beings, we have those resources. And you have external resources. These are resources that are external and over which you do not have much control. There are resources that are internal that you have control over. Resources that are external that you don't have much control over at all. The ultimate defining factor between success and failure in life is never the lack of resources, but the lack of resourcefulness. I pause and say this again. The ultimate defining factor between success and failure in life is never the lack of resources, because lack of resources has always been an issue. It's not just something that's an issue for this age. It's always been an issue. The defining factor is the lack of resourcefulness, because, and again, you know, there are several ways you could go with this. People who grew up like you in the same circumstances are achieving different results in life. They lack the same resources that you lacked, but they are delivering differently. They are achieving results at an even higher level. So it wasn't just that the resources were lacking. There was something else that was lacking, possibly in you, that made it impossible for you to achieve the results that others in your same circumstances are achieving. It's resourcefulness. The ultimate deciding factor is not the lack of resources, it's the lack of resourcefulness. The ultimate deciding factor is not the lack of resources, it's the lack of resourcefulness. And this is how I describe resourcefulness. That resourcefulness is the ability to use what is available at one's disposal to create a solution that will attract the external resources you need. Repeat again. The ability to use what is available to you. Whatever it is. I have tons and tons of stories where it's always down to something you have that you can use. Something that you have already. Something that you have already at your disposal to create a solution that would attract the external resources. Now, 5 characteristics I want to be able to share and be out of your way. 5 characteristics I want to be able to share about people who are termed resourceful. Resourceful people are solution-oriented. They always wake up in the morning, how do I solve this problem? That's just what they focus their attention to. They do not complain about what they do not have. They do not complain about what they do not have or they cannot control. They use what they have to create what they do not have. I've already shared, beginning story of my life, solution-oriented. How can I add value? How can I add value to people? And, they are solution-oriented. One of the next level in my life where, I was in charge. I had a music director who was older, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years my elder. And I discovered he needed help at home. He was single, and I discovered that I could be able to help him to make his life a bit comfortable. So I would go and just launder his clothes on the weekend. I just volunteered my time. I would go there, launder his clothes. I would clean their house every Saturday and make sure it's comfortable. He had a motorbike, Suzuki motorbike, NB2195. I would spend time to shine up that motorbike as if it just came from the factory. and I just used what I had. I had energy, I had strength, I could do that. So I had the musical instruments, musical skills. I used it when I was supposed to use it. I gained favor. But then I also used my energy. I used the hard work. I used what I had to be able to create this relationship. When it was time for me to go back to school in 1989 and I had to pay 1,000 leons that my parents couldn't even afford at that point in time, this guy paid for me. He paid my fees. I gave something in return. I used what I had to attract the attention that I need, to attract the support that I need. Resourceful people are solutions-oriented. They don't just complain about what they do not have. They take time to use what they have to create what they do not have. There's a guy who ended up being a tailor, had me say this. I've been saying this thing for the last 15, 20 years of my life and had it. What do you have in your hands? There's something you have. There's a skill. There's a natural source. It's the solution-oriented. Second characteristics of resourceful people. Number one, solution-oriented. Number two, they are producers. They are producers. And what do I mean by that? Now, in life, you have producers and consumers. Give 1,000 leons, 1 million leons, 1,000 leons to a consumer. They come back to you tomorrow. They're well-dressed. They've consumed everything you've given them. They bought things to be able to just make themselves look good. They've consumed everything in food and clothing. They consume. Now, who's a producer? A producer would take the 1,000 leons, would not invest in clothing and shoes and stuff to look good, and then come back the next day and have nothing in their pockets. They would use and invest this money in business. So 1,000 leons today in 6 weeks would have given them 1,500 leons, 1.5 million leons. They are able to produce. They are able to produce so that at the end of the day, they are continuously adding value. And let me tell you what happens in a situation where you have people who consume only and don't produce. They are price takers. What that means is that we've gone through serious difficulties over the last couple of months in the country, with prices being hiked across every stuff. You know the people who suffer the most are the people who don't produce anything. They are just price takers. Now, because what happens, we've already been saying, when fuel prices hike, what happens? An adjustment is done all across the board so that people who buy the fuel and have vehicles that are running public transportation, they do an adjustment in the price there. And those people who are market women and they have things they're buying and selling, they do a little hike in the prices there. And those prices are passed on to the housewives. They do buy and buy, and then they pass it on to their husbands. And some not just husbands, because they are people who are housewives, but they're also working, they're earning money for themselves. It's passed on to them, and then ultimately at the end of the day, at some point in time, it's a long journey there. But ultimately, people are supposed to be able to pass it on to their employers. If you're providing solid service, that's why I said you're a producer. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to be able to get to the point in time where, like government did an adjustment in the minimum wage, your employer is supposed to be able to do the adjustment for you, no matter how, maybe 3 months or 4 months. But what happened at the end of it, because you're a producer, you are able to pass on this increased cost and be able to cover it. If you are not a producer, you're just a consumer, you suffer. I'll tell you another story about people who the difference between producers and consumers is the fact that somebody had said, if you take all the money in the central bank now, take all the money, bring all the money all over the country, put it in the central bank, distribute that money over 8 million Sierra Leoneans, and everybody gets equally, you know what would happen? Consumers would spend and spend and spend, give them 6 months, they would have spent all that money, and producers would have produced and sold to the consumers, and all the money would go back to where it came from in 6 months. Think about that for a moment. People who are resourceful, they are producers and they are not consumers. People who are resourceful are producers and not just consumers. Ultimately, they produce more than they consume. So, second characteristics of people who are resourceful, they are producers. The third characteristic of people who are resourceful in life, remember we're talking about resourcefulness, is that they have self-belief. You must have heard me, if you've been listening to me and following up with me a couple of times, you must have heard me talk about, self-belief, internal and external locus of control, where people who do not have self-belief, external forces determine their lives. So at the beginning of the year, you would ask them what do they see happening for them in the year. They will tell you, it's not in my hands. They will tell you, and they think really it's religious to be able to say, one wouldn't know, it's out of my hands. No one knows what's going to happen. And what they're trying to tell you at that point in time, that they do not have control over the direction of their life. And it's a big one. So what is people? They lack self-belief. They do not have belief in themselves of their ability to be able to design the life. And it's something I've said over and over again, and I've given evidence from the Bible, from the Quran, and from science about the ability and the responsibility. It's not just the ability, but the responsibility we have to create our life. So once you do not believe in yourself, in your ability, and this lack of self-belief, limitations that you have set up in your life that people like me do not achieve much in life. People at my level, you wake up and that's what you're programmed with every day. Put your eye down. You were not meant to be achieved you were not meant to achieve these things. Once you continue to have those things, it's self-limitations, it's programmed in your mind. And once it does, you cannot be resourceful. You cannot even make attempts to create what you do not have, because you tell yourself there's no use. There is no use. People who are resourceful, they have self-belief. They wake up in the morning, and it's funny how success leads to success leads to success leads to success. I wake up every day, and I know I can do all things. I wake up every day. I know I can do all things. Not just because somebody says, well, it's because you're Joe Abbas. And I keep telling people, there was me before there was Joe Abbas. Joe Abbas is just a name. It's just a name that was attached to an individual that did certain things very well, constantly, consistently, building a brand, doing things certain way, self-belief, and worked on what everyone thought was impossible. I worked on myself. There was no Joe Abbas. Well, there are people who had the name, but the Joe Abbas joined together, like me. I created it. I created it. Resourceful people believe they have this ability. And because they have the ability, they wake up every day and shift. You're failing in mathematics. There's something you can do to do mathematics. It's not that they don't make you read for land book or you ain't no good for mathematics. No, you could be able to pass NPSC maths. You should be able to pass WAS maths, because it's just you sitting down and applying and working on those things. That's what will get you there. So self-belief. Once you lack the self-belief, whether it's mathematics or it's in a subject, you don't even make the attempt to be able to push it. People who are resourceful, the way you know them, they believe in themselves, they believe in their ability to be able to change their destiny. They'll be able to change something in their life and work on getting better. So 3 characteristics we already mentioned about resourceful people. Number 1, we said they are solution-oriented. Number 2, they are producers and not just consumers. And number 3, we said they have self-belief.
This is my ID card. Hola. This is my phone. Go Afri Money agent. Where go they give them this ID card, give them the phone. Tell them say you want to do Afri Money registration. What you say? You want to do Afri Money registration. Well, I'm fine. Where go they give them? So we can I go able to change the password for myself. Yeah. Go no.
My transport.
What do you know easy? Yeah.
No more nice, small.
10,000 small. Yeah. You get problems.
Salibe, what's happening?
Yes, person come to me. I want to go register for me Afri Money.
Afri Money, no need for send person or gear your phone for let go to agent for let register you. You sabi do it for you so you can register for yourself.
Yes, you don't have to go to any Afri Money shop to get registered. Dial *161# and go through the registration process to register today. Do it yourself wherever you are. Dial *161# now.
My baby look up for me.
You want to tell me poly business? Go left me go.
Afri Money, quick and easy.
More and more people are using Rokel SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like a Rokel SIM couple.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Rokel SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Rokel SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Welcome back. Let's talk about characteristic number 4 of people who are resourceful. Characteristic number 4, they have self-discipline. They have self-discipline. And each time I talk about the word discipline, it brings in a lot of, sorry, for me. Because when you're talking about discipline, discipline can be broken down. It's just your ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. You don't do it because it's convenient, or you don't do it when it's convenient. You do something because you know it's necessary for you to be able to do it. You commit yourself to be able to say, I am going to be disciplined. This is my word. These are my value system. I'm going to live according to my value system. I am self-disciplined. I have a manager in the office who explodes with a little irritation that somebody would cause him, he would explode. He would get so angry and be shouting and burning energy. And the other day, I just called him and said, he came to my office and he was all over the place. I said, yeah. I said, please, no negative energy around me. No negative energy. Again, just go back to solution. You know, what is the shouting going to do to solve the problem? I've had Tony Robbins says he has a 90-second rule. 90 seconds. If he's angry about anything, it doesn't get angry more than 90 seconds. Because what does the angry solve? Does it change what has happened? No, being angry doesn't change anything. 90 seconds. Yeah, allow your emotions to go through 90 seconds. And 90 seconds, but then come back. Because your anger doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't solve anything. So your ability to be able to say, you have discipline over your emotions. And you're not allowed to lose your temper. You're not allowed under any circumstances to lose your temper and think it's normal and should be allowed. No, people who are self-disciplined have control over their emotions. They manage their temper. And that's part of self-discipline. And self-discipline could also go back down into relationships. Self-discipline in diet and food. Self-discipline, you commit yourself to do exercise and lose weight. You made a goal and you want to live according to that goal. It's self-discipline. Self-discipline around budget and finance. Self-discipline around dressing dressing your level and eating your level. A popular question, a common question I used to ask people is, we have this adage, cut your coat according to your, and people will say, cut your coat according to your, and everybody will say, cut your coat according to your size. But I will always say it's wrong. It's not just cut your coat according to your size. You cut your coat according to the quantity of material that you have. It's just the quantity of, it's just the size of the cloth that you have. It's the size of the cloth. It's not your size, it's the size of the cloth. It's the size of the cloth that you have. Some cloth, you could only do a necktie. Some cloth, you could only do a waistcoat. So you do that according to the resources that are available for you at that moment. And that's just what discipline is. Have a budget that you're maintaining and, dress your level, eat your level. Those are self-discipline that can be maintained in your life. I've went to battle. I've been doing something called intermittent fasting for the last, how many months? Was it July? Maybe 6, 7, 8 months? Intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting says, and what I do, I just regulate what I eat and I break off at 8 p.m. Not to eat after 8 p.m. and just take water and tea until 2 p.m. the next day. How long have I been doing it? 6 months, 7 months, 8 months? Is it having an effect? Maybe it does. Maybe I can feel it in terms of you know, how much I've lost around my waistband. It was 43 and now 44. Now, for the first time in a long time, I now started putting on, my waistband is down to 42. So I had on some stuff that I bought over the holidays, and it's down to 42. Tell me about self-discipline. I wake up every morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and I'm up. Go to the treadmill regularly, regimented. I go to the treadmill. I do 20 minutes on the treadmill. Then I use my time to do meditation. Then I take my bath. It's regimented. It's every day. I leave the house before 7. Sometimes before 7 a.m., I'm already at the office. I drop my kids in school and I'm already at the office. I can't be complaining about traffic jam and stuff. No. By 7 a.m., 7:15, worst case scenario, I'm already at the office. I have 2 hours ahead of everybody. And tell me what happens when I have 2 hours ahead of people. If I'm working on the right thing, I'm working on what I'm supposed to be working on. If I spend more time than you on doing the right thing, I would always be ahead of you. It's self-discipline. That's what it's called. It's called self-discipline. And what do you know is happening because I'm doing that thing? I am resourceful. I'm building resources. I'm attracting resources. I'm building businesses. I'm doing impossible stuff. 5, I'll give you characteristics number 5 of people who are resourceful. They have the right attitude to life. And let's break down right attitude to life. And one of the things is that they don't believe in getting something for nothing. Now, and with all due respect to young people, there's not a week. University, University, I've just started a new academic year, and people have been admitted to university for the first time. And I can tell you about the number of letters that I have of people who are asking to help them with fees, and so that they could go pay their university fees. And if you have 1,000 people trying to do this, if you have 2,000 students trying to do this, what are your chances? And so, would it be helpful if you have the attitude that says, I'm not just sending letters and expecting people to give me something for free, but I'll wake up and go look for where to add value. It's funny, and I share this all the time, and people, once you share this and people think you're wicked. After we worked together with these guys, I was trying to just mentor them and push, and in terms of just guiding them on the next thing they can do to get themselves to the next level in life. And we started talking, and this guy was saying, well, he needed help. He wanted to get a driving license. And I said to him, okay. He said he's done everything. Everything to get it, hasn't. Okay, how? Well, what's everything? Well, he's been talking to the counselor in the area, so that the counselor would be able to help him with money. And so, okay. So that's the only stuff you've been doing. You've been expecting somebody to give you this cash for free. Well, yeah, it's politics. And so, people expect to get money for free so that you go vote for them or continue to get their support as a politician. Where would the politician get this money? If there are 500 of you expecting the politicians to give you this money, where does he get it? What do you think is it that would increase your chances? And I said to the guy, I just pointed across the guys at Alumni, roundabout. And I said, can you look at people your age, at your level, and see what they're doing? Look around and see what they're doing to earn money. Look around. They're in shops, helping. Some are pushing push carts, and some are actually carrying stuff on their head and making money to push themselves to the next level. And I said to him, would you, for example, get a push cart? Even if you don't own it, get somebody, hire it out from somebody and spend the second half of the day. The person is there in the morning, you're there in the afternoon. If you make 10,000 a day, 10,000 leons, all leons a day, and after having food to eat, and in a week you would do 50, 60. If you do it until Saturday, Monday till Saturday, you do 60. And how much would you do in 4 weeks? It's 240 leons, 240,000 leons. That's what we'll do. He needed 300,000. So that means I said, how long it will take you? He said, okay, 6 weeks. That's how long it will take me to raise 300,000 leons to go get my driving license. I said, so that's one way. It's not just by going to the counselor and get the counselor to give you money. There are 500 other people waiting for the counselor to give them money. The counselor does not have that money. You increase your chances to move ahead in life by just getting this attitude, by having the right attitude to life. Not expecting to get things for free. See what value you can push forward for somebody to push back that value to you. That's the right attitude in life. And the guy looked at me. And the guy said, you know what? He said, it says in Creole, the guy said in Creole, "Let not put myself aside, God not put me." That's what he said. "Let not put myself aside, God not put me." That's what he said. He was too good to do a push cart. He was too good to do that. And therefore, I said to him, if you're too good enough to do a push cart, to get 300,000 in 6 weeks, to be able to get a driving license to move you to the next level, then the driving license is too big for you. It's too good for you to be able to do that. And I say this with all due respect. People are suffering, people are in pain, and you could increase your chances in advance in life by being resourceful in these ways that I've just talked about. And so solution-oriented, be a producer and not just a consumer. Do things that people can pay for. Produce things that people can pay for. And believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Self-belief, self-discipline, and having the right attitude. 5 things, right attitude, 5 things that you could do to increase your resourcefulness, and it's in doing that you'll be able to create what you do not have and attract the resources that are external. Let me know what you think about this. Push it down in the comments. You agree, you disagree. This is a conversation we're going to continue to have. We want to be able to take forward with us as much people as we can to create the future we've always desired. Thank you very much.